Well, whenever you're ready, we are ready to listen.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Alexis Sandoval, and I am a senior here in Southwestern North High School. And my research project is centered on negative body image. Now, what is body image? Body image is how a person perceives, thinks, and feels about themselves. For example, one person may see themselves as slim or light on the weight scale, or another person may see themselves as heavy on the weight scale. Everyone sees themselves differently. However, we may see them differently. And that is where my next thing comes in. Body image is the projection of your mentality. If your mentality is weak, as in you have a weak perception of yourself, you will think lowly of yourself on every aspect, especially your body. The image you see here is the common body types a woman's body can obtain. Apple shape, pear shape, upside down triangle, rectangle, and hourglass. The significance of this image is to bring awareness that every woman can develop a different body shape, different forms, different sizes, different shapes, different weight. It is completely natural to have different body shapes. However, I am going to show you two certain body shapes that have become very popular amongst today's society, and that is the pear and hourglass shape. Now, these two body shapes did not become popular on their own. Celebrities use their platform or popularity to bring attention to all of those two certain body types. Social media the main purpose of social media was to bring people together, to connect people worldwide. Gradually it turned into a source of credibility where people used it to promote their brands or services. And celebrities use their platform to promote trends or spread messages or ideas to a certain audience. Now, it takes a very short amount of time for trends to settle and become a basic belief amongst teenagers. And although beauty trends or beauty standards tend to fluctuate, depending how light the trend or beauty standard is, the more people will follow. I am going to introduce you to a few beauty standards that are very common amongst teenagers. That is clear and soft skin, shiny long hair, or perfect, flawless, or hairless body, fat-free body, or a flat belly. Now, these beauty trends are harmless. However, a lot of female teenagers tend to mentally destroy themselves when they realize they lack that certain quality. This is when the never-ending battle begins, and that is when plastic surgery has become normalized. Before, people would be ashamed to admit they had any surgical altercations, but now it is very common, and you start to see no surgery, lip injections, Botox, eyebrow lifts, veneers where they place porcelain teeth above your natural teeth to get that perfect shiny smile, breast augmentations, liposuction where they take unwanted fat from your body, or last but not least, butt implants or BBLs, also known as Brazilian butt lifts, which is when they place your unwanted body fat in your glutes or your hips. In today's society, teenagers will take the shortcut to pay all that money just to receive plastic surgery to get that ideal body type that is normalized in the society. Now, this is where the obsession of trends comes. Teenagers tend to depend on trends in order to fit in today's society. Whatever trend is popular, they must do in order to become part of the crowd. There is no individuality. As a result, the development of negative body image begins. This development of negative body image is when an individual lacks a certain quality that society expects you to have. Due to the lack of certain qualities, the individual will become insecure and may think themselves not beautiful. Now, what is beautiful in society is someone obtaining the attributes that fit the beauty standards. Unrealistic bodies, ideal bodies influence negative emotions about the appearance and develop unhealthy eating behaviors. And that is where female teenagers incorporate excessive exercising, which takes up most of their time and energy. Now, excessive exercising can drain you physically, emotionally, and mentally. You see, constantly thinking about your body and being subconscious of your body, it just takes away from any other important things in your life, such as schoolwork or small tasks at home like chores or other important things as small details. You start to forget small details because you're constantly thinking about your body and how you could do, what could you do to obtain that ideal body. Now, I can account to this because I suffered negative body image. My negative body image started when I was in middle school. I would compare myself to my peers. I would see girls my age and I would think, why is my hair not as long as hers? Or why is my belly not as flat as hers? She has such a perfect body, is what I constantly thought about. I lost myself, and I lost my self-awareness. I could not help but to be envious of these girls because they possessed qualities that I lacked, and I just became severely insecure. I was 13 at that time, so I had no sense of self-awareness, and I didn't know who I wanted to be at that time. I shaped myself into what society wanted to see, and I would constantly doubt myself and tell myself I am not good enough. As a result, I stopped watching my favorite movies and shows. I would see these young actors my age with the bodies that I wanted and become so envious of them. And I realized that all the attention went to the slimmer actors. And they were portrayed as the popular girl, which is where the stereotype comes in of the pretty, popular girl. I realized that they always get the happy ending. And I would start to compare myself to those and realize that I had nothing that they had. My mentality was so set on that belief that after every show I watched, I would try to fit myself in that stereotype. Moreover, being out in public was difficult for me. I would admire girls who had that stereotypical popular girl or had my ideal body and just look down at myself and just feel so insecure. I was so self-conscious of my body and how I looked. I began to put false expectations on myself when I go out in public. I would say, I need to fix my hair in order to look good. I need to wear a certain outfit so they think I'm pretty. My ambition to become pretty became a huge obsession. I would rely on YouTube and I would look up workout videos to obtain that slim body figure. I placed such unrealistic goals on myself. These workout videos is what I would use. And you see as the titles it says smaller waist in 14 days. 7-minute workout, 7 days. They're all such a short amount of time, and that is what attracted me to these videos. They're such a short amount of time, I was like, you know what, I can do this. I will lose my belly fat in 10 days. I will get slimmer thighs in 7 days. Now that is what made me obsessed, was seeing those titles. Now for my research. My research question. What are the long-term psychological effects of the overuse of social media for teenagers 13 and 18 years of age in North Carolina, especially TikTok and Instagram, and imitating certain influencers and their lifestyles to attain the desired outcomes? The combination of the quantitative and qualitative method I used was to help me determine whether girls were imitating certain influencers or lifestyles to obtain their desired goals or body type. In-person interviews were conducted where I asked various questions about their perception of social media and if it pertains to negative body image. The participants also completed a pie chart where that was divided into 4 sections: appearance, social media, education, and family. And as a matter of fact, that helped me. It provided an insight on how their mentality was and what they constantly thought of. So, we're going to start with student A. Student A, she began to have negative body image when she had social media. She developed insecurities and was excessively exercising to get the flat belly that she saw every girl have on TikTok. Now, to give you a brief explanation of TikTok, you just scroll up and you just see different and various body shapes. And she noticed one body shape with flat belly, and that is what she wanted. So she began to eat less. So she would put herself in such physical pain. The excessive exercising, she would she would push herself so hard that her abdomen area would burn, and that was her indication of this workout works. Her lack of nutrition caused a lot of negative cognitive changes. She began to have an eating disorder, her sleeping pattern was disrupted, and she began to have mood swings. Her emotions were never stable. Participant B, her issue was that she was underweight and she began to be self-conscious when she was criticized by her own peers. So because of this, she was insecure, and social media was either her friend or her enemy. For she did use social media to get healthy eating habits or healthy foods or meals to gain weight. However, as her process of trying to gain weight continued, she would have days where she was unmotivated because she would go on social media and see girls her age who was at a better weight than her or had a perfect body shape that she wanted, and she would ask herself, why do I not look like this? And as you can see on her pie chart, their appearance was 25.5%. That shows you that she was very subconscious of her body. Social media, she said social media could impact her either positively or negatively, and she did say that her family was a huge help. My family was a big help because my mom had always made foods that would help me gain healthy weight. So, ignoring the criticism and the girls on social media, she pushed herself to maintain a positive outlook throughout her journey to reach her goal of gaining weight. Now, student C also agrees that social media pertains to negative body image. She even says herself in her interview, negative body image has a lot to do with the internet. Most of the time, you do not see realistic body types or views. This participant, however, even though she thinks that, this participant still developed an insecurity of her arms. She followed these models on Instagram and saw that they had slim arms, toned and slim arms. However, she did not have that. So she began to be insecure, and she compared herself to them a lot. To this day, she continues to struggle, and she did have an excessive use of social media, and that is where her struggle is that she did not know how to stop and take breaks off of social media. And she did begin to eat less, which also, she developed negative cognitive changes. It was more of her mood swings. She realized that her behavior at school wasn't the ideal behavior of a student, and her education was lacking very much. Now my final participant, Student D. Student D suffers with tremendous amounts of insecurities, even with the lack of access she had for social media. She's only 13 years old, so she has little access of social media. However, with the time she had, the small amount of time she had with social media, she developed so many insecurities, seeing girls on TikTok with flat bellies and wide hips and a bigger butt. That is what the common body type was. So she became severely self-conscious. And understand that she's only 13 and her body is developing, but she's still already putting so many false expectations on herself. That causes a tremendous amount of pressure, mentally and emotionally. She prioritized exercising over eating her meals, so that lack of nutrition again on her developing body. Now her negative body image continues, and she is aware that comparing herself to other girls is a negative habit. However, she is trying her best to put forth the effort to change that habit and take breaks off of social media. Now, after concluding my interviews and analyzing all the information that I gathered, I did run into a couple of limitations. Lack of participation. You see, I had several participants I wanted to interview, a lot of students that I was familiar with here in school. However, when I did ask permission to have an interview about negative body image, they shied away because it was such a sensitive and personal topic, and I completely understood, so they did say no to the interviews. The second thing is no social media. That is very rare, but I did find some students that had no social media whatsoever, and that is good. Fortunately, they did not deal with any negative body image. However, I was looking for that student that had that negative perception of social media and negative body image. So that I did exclude them, and they were willing to participate, but I did have to exclude them. Now, the aftermath. To conclude the presentation, I would like to speak about the aftermath of negative body image. Negative body image and falling into this vicious cycle of constantly comparing yourself to other girls and trying to take shortcuts to achieve this ideal beauty standard is very exhausting. Teenagers tend to go on social media to attract attention or reassurance of their body or approval. And falling into such a vicious cycle is losing any of your self-worth. You begin to lose your self-awareness, and you're not authentic to yourself anymore. You have no idea who you are because you look like and act like other people. And lastly, there is no originality. Every female is following a trend and a beauty standard, and they want to look like everyone else so badly that who are they themselves? They don't know who they are. If you ask them the question, who are you? Who do you want to be? They don't know, because they just want to so badly fit this beauty standard. They just have no original beliefs, and they forget those original beliefs because they want to follow with everybody else. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cutler.
So how did your initial exploration of the scholarly conversation lead you to your final research question?
Initially, I was looking at secondary sources to build the foundation of my research, and that's how it started off. And I realized a lot of them used interviews and pie charts, and I thought to myself, I could do that too. So I used interviews and pie charts to help me further my research and confirm my hypothesis.
How does your new understanding address the gap in the scholarly conversation?
Okay. I have a personal connection to the negative body image, and so I was able to engage with my participants and ask in-depth questions, and they were able to connect with me. And when I saw the secondary sources, I realized that the interviewers had lack of any engagement with the participants, and their questions were very surface level, and the answers that responded to those questions were not what I wanted, and that, I believe, is the gap from the scholarly conversation.
What was the most important research skill that you developed throughout this process?
A very important research skill is communicating and body language. In my future, I want to become a psychiatrist, and so having these interviews really helped me develop a connection with these participants, and they are my peers, so it was very easy to connect with them. But I did gain a lot of skills of being able to understand them and understand their body language, because that really helped with the answers that they provided me. I got to see how they truly feel about the questions that I asked, and I feel like that's a skill that I was able to gain.
All right.
Great job.